In 2008, a group of friends discovered the body of their friend, murdered with exceptional brutality, in his Arizona home, sparking an investigation that shocked the nation. This wasn't just a crime. It was a story where love, religion, and obsession collided under one roof. Travis Alexander was born on July 28, 1977 in California. His childhood was far from happy. His mother struggled with drug addiction, and the household was plagued by poverty and violence. At the age of 10, he and his siblings moved to Utah to live under the care of their grandmother. She became his true family, introduced him to the Mormon faith, and instilled in him the values that would later make him an inspiring leader. Travis worked as a salesman for a company offering prepaid legal services, but he wasn't just a charismatic guy. He was beloved by friends and seen as a role model. People described him as kind, cheerful, and honest. He inspired others. Jodi Arias was born on July 9, 1980. Her childhood wasn't as impoverished as Travis's, but it was also far from harmonious. Her relationship with her family deteriorated in her teenage years. She clashed with her parents, believed herself superior, and despised their lifestyle. At 17, she ran away from home and never returned. Her education was spotty, and her employment unstable. She changed jobs, interests, and partners until she ended up at Prepaid Legal Services, where she first heard the name Travis Alexander. She was looking for opportunities to collaborate with the company where he worked. There was an instant mutual attraction between the two. Travis invited Jodi to a corporate dinner as his date. That evening marked the beginning of their passionate affair. Jodi was drawn to Travis's fun-loving and charismatic personality, how effortlessly they connected. After meeting him, she immediately broke up with her previous boyfriend. For several months, the couple maintained a long-distance relationship. He lived in Mesa, Arizona, while she was in Palm Desert, California, but they often traveled to see each other. One of Travis's friends described Jodi as beautiful, friendly, with long blonde hair, slim, very sweet. During dinner, she and Travis couldn't take their eyes off each other. It seemed like she liked him just as much as he liked her. Their relationship progressed quickly, but not all of Travis's friends were thrilled with Jodi. Some were wary, sensing something off about her, and early in the relationship, a major issue surfaced. Jodi wasn't a Mormon. That meant Travis could never marry her, at least not officially. He knew his church would disapprove of such a relationship, but she seemed willing to do anything to stay with him, even converting to his faith. Still, after 5 months, the couple broke up. Their connection was passionate but lacked depth. It never became a true love story. Officially, it ended in June. Travis decided it was time to call it off, but Jodi didn't accept rejection. She became obsessed with him. Their breakup wasn't a full stop, more like a comma, because they continued to sleep together and stay in contact. Everything seemed under control until Travis started dating another woman. Jodi became intensely jealous. She crossed boundaries most wouldn't dare. She even moved from California to Mesa, the very city where Travis lived, supposedly to start a new life, but in reality, to stay close, to be in his church, his circle, his house. If she got lucky, Jodi became a shadow. She began showing up at Mormon gatherings where Travis would be. She knew his schedule, his contacts, all his friends. She hacked into his email, read his personal messages. Once, returning home, he found someone had slept on his couch. Of course, it was Jodi. He joked with friends, "Don't be surprised if you find me dead one day." By late May 2008, Travis finally told Jodi to disappear from his life for good. He was exhausted. Her behavior hadn't stopped. At the same time, he was planning a business trip to Mexico. He had initially planned to take Jodi, but in April he told her he was going with another woman named Mimi. On June 2nd at 2 a.m., Jodi called Travis 4 times in a row. He didn't answer. Her persistence annoyed him. The longest call lasted only 17 seconds. He wasn't in the mood to talk, but later he called her back. First they spoke for 18 minutes, and the second call lasted 41 minutes. Their final conversation lasted nearly 3 minutes. After that, Jodi rented a car and set off on a long trip to Utah. Along the way, she stopped in Southern California to attend a conference and visit friends. Later, she met up with Ryan Burns, a colleague of Travis's. Burns later noted that Jodi's hair was now dark brown, and he saw strange cuts on her hands. On June 6th, she left Salt Lake City and returned to California. Throughout this time, she kept calling Travis and left many voicemails. When Jodi returned the rental car, agency staff noticed the car had been driven about 3,000 miles. The floor mats were missing, and there were red stains on the front and back seats, but these weren't examined. The car had already been cleaned by the time police got to it. On June 9, 2008, Mimi and some of Travis's friends, concerned by his silence, decided to check if he was okay. Their flight to Mexico was coming up soon. At first, they rang the doorbell repeatedly. Nothing. They peered through the windows, knocked on the glass. After about 40 minutes, Mimi suspected something terrible had happened. They contacted a friend of Travis's who knew the code to the garage door. Once inside the house, they were immediately hit by a strange, acrid smell, though no one paid much attention to it at first. They discovered that Travis's bedroom door was locked. Mimi called his phone again. No answer. They then approached a neighbor, Zach Billings. Zach and another neighbor, Enrique Cortez, both confirmed they hadn't seen Travis in nearly a week. Zach found a spare key to the room. Together, they went back upstairs. Not finding him in the bedroom, they cautiously opened the bathroom door and were met with a horrifying sight. Travis's body was on the floor, dead, in a large pool of blood. Judging by the smell and the condition of the body, it had been there for at least 4 days. They immediately called 911. The dispatcher asked whether Travis had ever expressed suicidal thoughts and whether there was anyone who might have wanted him dead. Jodi Arias, they said without hesitation. She stalked him, hacked his accounts, slashed the tires on his car. When the police arrived, they began searching the house and found a crucial piece of evidence, a camera tossed into the washing machine. Further investigation revealed that the camera had been purchased recently. Though it was damaged, forensic experts managed to recover deleted photos. What they saw became key evidence. The photos showed Jodi and Travis on June 4th, around 2 p.m., in the bedroom and bathroom, posing intimately. The last photo of Travis alive was taken at 5:29 p.m. Moments later, the camera captured images of his bleeding body on the bathroom floor. Later, a bloody palm print was found in the hallway near the bathroom. DNA analysis confirmed the blood belonged to both Jodi and Travis. On July 15, 2008, Jodi Arias was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. At first, she denied everything, claimed she wasn't in Mesa on the day of the murder, and hadn't seen Travis since March. But 2 years later, while already in custody, she changed her story. Now, Jodi claimed she had been there and had killed him, but in self-defense. During an interrogation with Detective Esteban Flores, Jodi stated she arrived at Travis's house at 2 a.m. They spent the night together. In the morning, he went to shower, and she began taking photos of him. Then, according to her, 2 masked intruders, a man and a woman, broke in. They attacked Travis. One of them pointed a gun at her, threatened her, and told her to stay quiet. Then, they spared her, but warned that if she told anyone, her entire family would be killed. This version sounded like a bad movie script, and no one believed it. After that story fell apart, she had no choice but to confess, because the facts were undeniable. Travis had 27 stab wounds. His throat was slit nearly from ear to ear, and he had a gunshot wound to the head. This wasn't self-defense, it was rage. On February 4th, 2013, nearly 5 years after the murder, Jodi Arias began testifying in court. She spoke for 18 days. On the first day, she described her difficult childhood, claiming her parents had abused her since the age of 7. From the second day, her stories grew stranger. She gave graphic details about her sex life with Travis. She portrayed herself as a victim, saying their first time was painful and emotionally difficult. She played audio recordings of Travis saying things like, "I want to tie you to a tree and make love to you while you're wearing a Little Red Riding Hood outfit." But on the recording, she didn't sound scared. She sounded intrigued. During questioning, Jodi's personal diary was examined. It was a journal where she wrote daily entries. "Show me one line," the prosecutor said, "where you mention violence, fear, or trauma. Just one." Jodi stayed silent. Everyone waited, but no such entry existed. To everyone's surprise, Jodi's diary contained nothing negative about Travis, not a single mention of abuse or fear. On the contrary, she wrote about him with warmth and love. When the prosecutor questioned her about this, Jodi calmly replied, "I believe in the law of attraction. If you write about bad things, they will come back and repeat themselves. I didn't want to attract more negativity." Later, Jodi claimed that she had once caught Travis with a photo of a boy around 5 years old, insinuating he had disturbing tendencies. But a forensic analysis of Travis's computer found no evidence to support this claim. Experts confirmed there was no such content on any of his devices. No evidence at all. only her word. It seemed Jodi wasn't just defending herself. She was deliberately trying to smear Travis, paint him as a pervert, to justify her horrific crime. And for all 18 days on the stand, she stuck to her claim. It was self-defense. In one interview, Jodi declared, "No jury will convict me because I am not guilty." Later in court, she admitted that at the time, she was suicidal and genuinely didn't believe she would live to hear a verdict. The prosecution stood firm. This was a murder driven by jealousy and revenge, because Travis had chosen another woman, because he was going on vacation, not with Jodi, but with his new girlfriend. In March 2013, Jodi Arias was found guilty of first-degree premeditated murder. However, the jury couldn't agree on whether to sentence her to death. In the end, the verdict was life in prison without the possibility of parole. Strange facts. During interrogations, Jodi exhibited strange behavior. In her cell, she would sing, laugh, talk to herself, stand on her hands, and stuff paper into her pants. Jodi Arias even attended Travis's memorial service. She stood among the friends and family of the man she had murdered. She knew everyone suspected her, and still she showed up. One of Travis's friends watched her and later said, "She looked completely calm, didn't cry, didn't lower her eyes, didn't look sad, as if nothing had happened. It was shocking, almost theatrical, or as if she were playing a part." Today, Jodi Arias is serving a life sentence without the possibility of parole in an Arizona state prison. But even behind bars, she hasn't disappeared from public view. In one interview she said, "I receive so much love, so much that I don't even have time to respond to all the letters." In April 2019, she filed an appeal, claiming the trial had been unfair, due to excessive media coverage, bias against her, and judicial errors. She argued the judge had failed to protect her from widespread negative publicity. According to Jodi, public opinion had been against her from the very beginning, but on March 24, 2020, the Arizona Court of Appeals upheld her conviction. If you found this story interesting, make sure to subscribe to the channel. There are many more shocking cases ahead. What do you think about this case? Let's discuss it together.